Hi, good afternoon. Casey Torino is a Calphilid alumna. 2 years ago, she accepted two radio guesting invites from the Radio Veritas program called Kalakbay ng Kabataan. Her first topic was forgiveness. Her second one was servant leadership. That was her way of sharing her talents and knowledge. That was her way of evangelizing. Our agenda for this talk: we shall refer to the recent Synod of Bishops as the backdrop of our topic for today, the need for evangelization on the basis of the urgent social issues of our time. Then I'll present what to me are the important social issues we are faced with. Then we end with a call to action. In the concluding Mass of the 16th Ordinary General Assembly of the Synod of Bishops in Rome just last October, Pope Francis called all of us to look at the principle and foundation from which everything begins ever anew, by loving. He said, loving God with our whole life and loving our neighbor as ourselves. Not our strategies, our human calculations, the ways of the world, but love of God and neighbor. That is the heart of everything. And how do we channel this momentum of love? I would propose two verbs, two movements of the heart on which I would like to reflect: to adore and to serve. We love God through adoration and service. Here are the more important social issues I wish to highlight: poverty and inequality, marriage and family, life of the unborn, education, the metaverse, and artificial intelligence. In 2021, the Philippines experienced a setback in its three-decade-long trend of poverty reduction, with the national poverty rate increasing to 18.1% from 16.7% in 2018 due to the COVID-19 crisis, pushing the number of poor individuals to 19.9 million, an increase of 2.3 million. In a world of vast wealth inequalities, dishonest financial practices, and an emphasis on profit over the authentic good, we have to have an ethical discernment so that we can take concrete action. This is my online friend, a Catholic apologist, who made it his job to help the poor and the sick whom he bumps into in his daily comings and goings, on his way to work, on his way home. He makes an appeal to his FB friends for funds. Since God cannot be outdone in generosity, there are generous people who would send him money, mostly through GCash. Then he spends these for the needs of these needy people. He is happy making these people happy. There are continuing attacks on the sacred institution of marriage and the sacred unit of society, which is the family, a nest for human development, love, solidarity, beautiful relationships, compassion, holiness. Right now, we are battling against the divorce bill in Congress that is being pushed by our senators. We need to act so that this bill does not turn into law. You must have heard of the recent overturning by the U.S. Supreme Court of Roe v. Wade, the 1973 case that legalized abortion across the U.S. The reversal was announced in the Dobbs v. Jackson Women's Health Organization decision last June 2022. While this has been described as a major victory against abortion, this definitely has not stopped the scourge of abortion across the globe. In the Philippines, we continue to fight against contraception and abortifacients, which have been inscribed in the RH law, which allows the use of abortifacient devices such as the IUD and the purchase of abortifacient substances using taxpayers' money, and thus violates the constitutional provisions protecting life and health. In the Philippines, there are hundreds of thousands of families who cannot afford to send their children to school. And even among Filipino children or adults who are in school, because of low investment over the past decade, outdated teaching methods, and limited attention to the development of children's social and emotional skills, Filipino children lag behind. A 2018 study found that a sample number of 15-year-old Filipino students ranked last in reading comprehension out of 79 countries. They also ranked 78th in science and math. There's this webinar on November 25th, which I hope you can sign up for. ALFI, Alliance for Family Inc., has an ALFI Youth chapter. It needs young advocates to join the advocacy to fight against the death agenda, referring to divorce, euthanasia, abortion, total population control, homosexuality. Artificial intelligence, or AI, has achieved rapid and remarkable development during the last decade. AI technologies such as machine learning, natural language processing, and computer vision are increasingly permeating and spreading to various disciplines and aspects of our society. Despite the benefits, though, we are aware of its downsides and risks. Over the past few years, many cases in which AI produced poor outcomes have been observed. We notice how we ourselves have gotten so addicted to social media. We use ChatGPT for our homeworks. All this has adversely affected our mental health, our sleep and physical health, our relationships. There are a lot of neuroscience studies that are showing effects on the brain of specific types of human behavior. For instance, this study concludes that prioritizing self-transcendent values, such as family and friends, over non-transcendent values such as wealth and privilege, is associated with lower stress response. Put another way, when we go out of ourselves to serve the others and make them happy, we are less stressed and we are happier. As Dr. Rowena Guevara said in the recent launch of Univ Usap in UP Diliman on the theme Human Factor, when you are contributing to the happiness of your country, then you are human. At the recent Synod of Bishops, Pope Francis said, evangelization is everyone's mission. It's my mission, your mission, our mission. Sherry Weddle, in the book Forming Intentional Disciples, said, most of our people, referring to Catholics, are still spiritual preschoolers, not adults. Are we spiritual preschoolers? Well, we can study and train to be effective apostles. The author of Forming Intentional Disciples refers to various phases at which non-believers can get attracted to the faith and to us wanting to reach out to them. The first is the trust threshold, where a person is able to trust or has a positive association with Jesus Christ, the church, another Christian, or something identifiably Christian. Without some kind of bridge of trust in place, people will not move closer to God. 2. Spiritual curiosity. When a person finds that they are intrigued by or desire to know more about Jesus, his life and his teachings, or some aspect of the Christian faith. Something about Christ or the church captures their attention and they're inclined to want to know more. 3. Spiritual openness. When a person acknowledges that they are open to the possibility of a personal and spiritual change in their lives. 4. Spiritual seeking. When people move from a passive to an active seeking to know God, who is calling them to a relationship with Him in the church. And 5. Intentional discipleship. This is the decision to drop the nets as the apostles did, to make a conscious commitment to follow the Lord Jesus in the midst of His church as an obedient disciple and to reorder one's life accordingly. May we be intentional disciples. As we study, as we work, we can evangelize, like Casey Torino did, or like Dax Bondok does, who attends to the poor that God puts along his path. We can also be more intentional in our discipleship. Apart from the strategies listed here, let's make a list. What are the opportunities I have to evangelize? Let's have two categories at least. One, online, for example, social media. And two, opportunities for catechesis. Who can I give classes to? Let's pause and take 3 to 4 minutes to do this. Thank you very much.